Now that Jamaica is getting ready for another election, the stakes are higher than ever. The choices we make now will determine whether the country continues on its current path of development or reverts to a period of stagnation and decline. The People's National Party, or the PNP, once a dominant force in Jamaican politics, is again vying for power. But what does their track record reveal about their ability to lead? And what might the future hold if they return to office? To understand these implications, we must critically examine the PNP's past, its underlying philosophies, and the broader societal impacts of its policies. If you find videos like these interesting or informative, please give this video a thumbs up. Your opinion is also important, so please leave your feedback. Under the surface of Jamaica's vibrant political landscape lies a deep-rooted divide, one that has held the country back for far too long. The People's National Party, the once dominant party in Jamaica, now finds itself clinging to the past, perpetuating ideologies that have done more harm than good. Their recent political conference was not just a celebration of party loyalty, it was a blatant display of poor judgment, parading a known drug dealer, a convicted killer, and even a lawyer who once faced drug charges, and also among them was a self-proclaimed sovereign maroon emperor who boldly claims he is not a part of Jamaica at all. Now, this is the new face of the People's National Party today, a party that has consistently tried to destabilize Jamaica, particularly when the Jamaica Labour Party is in power. Since Prime Minister Andrew Holness assumed office, the country has seen tangible progress. The world has noticed.
Jamaica's economy is booming. There's a lot of exciting things going on there, and
Jamaica suffered economic hard times for many years, causing extreme and immense hardships.
In 2013, Jamaica was one of the world's most indebted nations, servicing the
Several
national debt.
decades, Jamaica has struggled with unsustainable debt. What unsustainable?
Around about 2016, 2017, things started to get better. Every hotel room in Kingston was fully booked, which told me that there was stability.
Jamaica has been recognized for its developments under Holness's leadership. From infrastructure improvements to economic stability, the JLP has been a breath of fresh air. Even Nigel Clark, the former finance minister, was recently appointed as managing director at the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, second in command. This is a testament to the credibility of the current administration.
Jamaica's Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, has been nominated for the prestigious role of Deputy Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund. This nomination marks a historic milestone, as no individual from Jamaica, the Caribbean, or Central America has ever held such a high position within the IMF in its 80-year history.
Yet, the PNP, instead of acknowledging these successes, has resorted to undermining Clark's accomplishments, throwing baseless accusations in an attempt to bring him down. The PNP's actions are not just politically motivated. They are reflective of a deeper issue within the party, a refusal to evolve and an inability to offer real solutions to the problems facing Jamaica today. The PNP's philosophical foundation. At the core of the PNP's philosophy lies a deep-rooted commitment to socialism. This commitment is not limited to democratic socialism, but extends to Fabian socialism. Now, Fabian socialism is a form of socialism that seeks to achieve socialist goals gradually and democratically, rather than through revolution or abrupt changes. It originated in the late 19th century in Britain with the founding of the Fabian Society in 1884. The society advocated for reforms within the framework of existing political systems, using legislation, education, and public persuasion to bring about a more equal society. Fabian socialists believe in the redistribution of wealth, increased government control over key industries, and social welfare programs, but they aim to implement these changes incrementally. Unlike more radical socialists, Fabians typically reject a violent revolution, preferring to work through parliamentary means and slow reform. The movement has influenced several political parties, particularly the British Labour Party, and continues to be a reference point for gradualist approaches to socialism today. So both democratic socialism and Fabian socialism prioritize the distribution of resources over the creation of wealth. This ideological framework has been evident throughout the party's history and continues to shape its policies today. A focus on distributing benefits rather than creating them often results in economic stagnation. The words of former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson resonates here, as he described Jamaican politics as a fight for scarce benefits and spoils, emphasizing a mentality that can cripple a nation's potential for growth. This pervasive mindset fosters a culture of entitlement, where citizens expect rewards without contributing to the economy, ultimately threatening the country's future. Historical context: the Manley era.
At home, Manley's socialist dream had become a middle-class nightmare. If you don't like it, Manley told them, there are 5 flights a day to Miami. In the months that followed, thousands took his advice. Planes were packed with Jamaica's middle classes, taking their money with them.
Examining the historical context, we cannot ignore the devastating economic downturn experienced during Michael Manley's leadership in the 1970s. His aggressive socialist policies, which aimed at asserting government control over the economy's commanding heights, led to a mass exodus of business owners and investors. The hostility toward the productive class, including entrepreneurs and capitalists, resulted in 7 years of negative economic growth, with a total overall decline of 25%. By 1979, Jamaica was worse off than it had been in 1972, a reality that continues to haunt the nation today. This period was marked not only by economic stagnation, but also by significant societal regression, as the government's expansion into the role of the largest employer set the stage for Jamaica's current debt burden. Infrastructure decline and dependency culture. Moreover, during Manley's tenure, public infrastructure deteriorated severely. Roads, schools, hospitals, and water systems fell into disrepair, leaving citizens to grapple with failing public services. Many business owners, disillusioned by the government's policies, fled the country, seeking better opportunities elsewhere. This period was not just one of economic decline, it was also a time when the very fabric of Jamaican society began to unravel. The long-term effects of these policies created a dependency culture, where citizens began to expect government handouts rather than pursuing self-sufficiency and entrepreneurship. So you see, the country have fall down around them, but them not see that because them get the little handout in them hand. So getting the handout, them not even them feel to realize everything else I get destroyed around them and I get sell out. Anyway, back to the video. Economic mismanagement, 1989 to 2007. Even during the PNP's 18.5 years in power from 1989 to 2007, the trend of economic mismanagement persisted. This period witnessed the collapse of Jamaica's black entrepreneurial class, compounded by a continued degradation of infrastructure and a notable lack of economic growth. Instead of fostering an environment that allowed Jamaicans to thrive, the PNP focused on redistributing limited resources among its supporters. This approach led to a culture of dependency, further discouraging productivity and innovation. Instead of encouraging hard work and entrepreneurship, the PNP perpetuated a narrative where rewards were expected without the requisite effort, creating a cycle of stagnation. The government's role in wealth creation. At the heart of the PNP's philosophy is a misguided belief that the government can provide for the people in ways that individuals should ideally be responsible for themselves. Harold Laswell's definition of politics as who gets what, when, and how encapsulates the PNP's focus on distributing benefits rather than creating opportunities for growth. However, without continuous production and wealth creation, there is nothing to distribute, This fixation on socialist ideals has repeatedly proven disastrous, not just in Jamaica, but globally, as evidenced by the failures of various socialist regimes around the world. The intellectual class that supports the PNP may also recognize these truths, but continue to advocate for policies that serve their interests, reflecting a deeper issue within the party, a refusal to evolve and an inability to offer real solutions to the pressing problems facing Jamaica. The risks of PNP's return to power. The prospect of the PNP regaining power raises significant concerns about the immediate and severe consequences for the economy. Business owners, remembering the hardships of the past, would likely freeze any expansion plans and adopt a wait-and-see approach. This hesitation would contribute to a plummeting confidence in the economy, as citizens anticipate a return to the high taxation and the negative growth that has historically accompanied PNP administrations. The resultant lack of confidence would quickly lead to economic stagnation, characterized by businesses halting new hires and potentially laying off workers. Impact on public services and infrastructure. As the economy slows, government revenues would shrink, complicating the administration's ability to provide meaningful pay raises to public sector workers. Under previous PNP governments, police officers, teachers, and other public servants endured wage freezes and minimal increases, while the largest pay increases in recent history occurred under the Jamaica Labour Party. Well, it could have did better. It really could have did better. A little bit, like $14,000 or $15,000 a week. Just really can't cut it. But anyway, it's still the largest. This discrepancy highlights the contrasting approaches to economic management, where the JLP's commitment to fostering an environment conducive to growth resulted in tangible benefits for workers. Moreover, without adequate revenue, the government would struggle to maintain essential public infrastructure. Roads, schools, police stations, hospitals, and public services would once again fall into disrepair, as seen during prior PNP administrations. History shows that when growth stalls, the only remaining options are to increase taxes, borrow excessively, or cut essential services, none of which bode well for Jamaica's future. This cycle of decline leads to further disenchantment among citizens, particularly as they witness the erosion of the quality of services upon which they rely. Contrasting leadership, the JLP's approach. In stark contrast, the Andrew Holness-led JLP government has made significant strides in stabilizing Jamaica's economy, steering the country toward long-term financial stability marked by meaningful economic growth, job creation, and infrastructural improvements. The recent appointment of Finance Minister Nigel Clark as Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund is a testament to the international recognition of Jamaica's progress under JLP leadership. Clark's fiscal policies have successfully guided Jamaica away from the high debt and economic instability that plagued previous administrations. The Holness government has consistently demonstrated that economic growth benefits everyone. When the economy thrives, public sector workers receive better compensation, businesses expand, and essential infrastructure is maintained. This growth mindset is essential for Jamaica's continued progress, in stark contrast to the PNP's past policies, which prioritize benefit sharing without fostering the necessary conditions for economic success. Generational divide and party loyalty. Another critical aspect of this political landscape is the generational divide in loyalty toward the PNP. Many older Jamaicans remain fiercely loyal to the party, driven by nostalgia and a misguided sense of security. This loyalty often manifests in dismissive attitudes toward younger generations who critique the PNP, encapsulated in the saying, "Young blood no know storm." The older generation speaks of Michael Manley as if he were a savior, failing to acknowledge the devastating consequences of his policies on the nation. This blind loyalty is particularly troubling among those from rural areas, where limited access to information perpetuates outdated ideologies. For many, the PNP represents a familiar structure, one that seems natural despite its long history of failures to improve living standards. The role of media. The media in Jamaica also plays a significant role in perpetuating narratives that undermine the Prime Minister's credibility. Outlets such as The Gleaner, CVM TV, and TVJ have been accused of perpetuating lies about the Prime Minister, allegedly stealing money from the public purse. Despite the Integrity Commission's findings that revealed no suspicious activities associated with the Prime Minister, these media outlets continue to propagate the narrative of corruption. This ongoing disinformation campaign serves not only to discredit the current leadership, but also appears to align with the interests of the PNP, suggesting a coordinated effort to destabilize the government. By framing the Prime Minister as a thief, these media entities seek to sway public opinion and foster a climate of distrust, which could potentially influence electoral outcomes. Such tactics further complicate Jamaica's political landscape, highlighting the dangerous intersection of media influence and political power. Lessons from the past. One only needs to look back to the early 1970s to understand the danger of allowing the PNP back into power. When the Jamaica Labour Party lost the election in 1972 and Michael Manley took office, Jamaica had a surplus of US $157 million. That surplus vanished within a year under Manley's leadership, squandered through poorly managed social programs like the Employment Relief Program, ERP, which became known as the Crash Program. While the ERP was supposed to provide jobs for 22,000 Jamaicans, in reality, 77,000 checks were being drawn weekly. Say so much money them with a rob. All of this money was the PNP writing out checks to party supporters. Anyway, I don't want to come for me, so I'm doing what I do. This unsustainable approach led to the IMF loans and the foreign exchange crisis that defined the Manley era. The path forward. We must not make the same mistake again. The path Jamaica is on, under Andrew Holness and the JLP, is one of prosperity and growth. The country is finally stabilizing after decades of economic mismanagement under the PNP. The world is taking notice. The accolades being given to Jamaica's leadership on the global stage are a testament to the progress we have made. Now is not the time to hand in the reins back to a party that has proven time and time again that it cannot lead Jamaica into the future. The PNP's brand of politics is one that rewards loyalty over merit and distributes resources based on political affiliation rather than need. This is not the way forward for Jamaica. Our country deserves better, and the younger generation understands this. We must not be swayed by the nostalgic ramblings of the older generation, who continue to vote for a party that has long outlived its usefulness. Jamaica stands at a critical juncture. The decisions made in the coming months will determine the direction of our country for years to come. The PNP, with its outdated ideologies and poor leadership, is not the answer. We must continue on the path to prosperity, ensuring that future generations inherit a Jamaica that is stable, growing, and full of opportunities. The PNP's time has passed. It's time for the country to move forward. The younger generation is increasingly aware of the need for change. They recognize that the PNP has done little to prove that any of its successors can replicate whatever positive impact they believe Manley had. The economic and social challenges faced by contemporary Jamaica require a forward-thinking approach, one that embraces innovation and progress, rather than clinging to outdated ideologies. It is disheartening to witness older voters prioritize nostalgia over the tangible improvements made under the JLP, as this reflects a broader struggle for the nation's direction. So this election represents more than just a fight for political power. It is a battle for the future of our nation. The PNP's past failures should serve as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the perils of outdated ideologies and mismanagement. Jamaica has already paid a high price for the PNP's experiments in socialism, and we cannot afford to make the same mistakes again. Let us choose a path that promotes growth, stability, and prosperity, ensuring that Jamaica remains a vibrant and thriving nation for generations to come. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.